Hi Year 5-6. So we are doing our second lesson for our free speech art project. So what I'm going to do is switch you around to go through a PowerPoint with you that's going to explain how we're going to bring our ideas from last week together with our ideas from this week and create a really beautiful piece of artwork. Okay? So today we're thinking about pulling our ideas together and creating a piece of artwork that represents free speech. And we're actually going to be looking at the pop art style. So you're going to need today, you might need your notes for paper for notes for ideas and things like that, or any notes that you took last week. So bring your ideas back to your work for today. You're going to need paper to draw your design. Now, ideally, this needs to be A3 so that you've got plenty of space to do a really beautiful design with it. You're going to need pencil, of course, to draw it. You can just use a HB, or you can use a 2H, or if you've got a set of drawing pencils, you might want to bring those, but we don't want to do too many details today, so don't worry too much, just an ordinary pencil will be fine. And then what you're going to need to do is bring some colour with you. Now, this can be mixed media, or you can either use some collage pieces, which could be some different colour paper, perhaps some magazine cutouts and things like that, and really use that to create this beautiful piece of artwork. Okay, so we're going to be pulling our ideas together, and this is going to create a piece of art that represents free speech. Now, if you think about speech and where it comes from our mouth. So we are going to be focusing on that today, and we're going to learn how to draw a mouth and then how to bring our ideas from last week into that. Okay. Now, those of you that aren't familiar with pop art, this is what it looks like. And as you can see, there are lots and lots of very bold colours, patterns, looks quite cartoony in some ways. So we're going to use these characteristics to inspire our art today. Okay, so I want you to really take a look at these pictures here and pick out any bits that you really like, actually, and anything that you're drawn to, and maybe make a note of it. It might even just be the colours, it might be a certain pattern or a combination of patterns that you quite like, and we're going to bring those ideas into our artwork as we get going. So you might want to pause it here and make some notes. Okay. So drawing a mouth. In a moment, once I've finished going through with you what we're going to be doing, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you would go about drawing a mouth. So when it comes to that, and once I've demonstrated to you, you might want to come back to this part of the video and pause it here, because you might want to do your mouth in a slightly different shape. And it depends on whether you are going to show free speech, so that kind of freedom, or whether it's actually going to be the opposite, and when someone can't actually speak. So, you know, depending on that, you may have that open or closed mouth. Okay, so you might want to come back to this slide, like I said, so that you can use these as a template for what you're drawing. So bringing it all together, what we're thinking about is playing around with those lip shapes, like I just said, and the open mouth is going to represent open or free speech, and the closed mouth is that lack of free speech. So something that is perhaps you're having to hold in. Okay, now either way of doing that is absolutely fine. It's gonna change the layout of your artwork slightly. Okay, so when you're using that open mouth and you're really demonstrating that freedom of speech, then you're going to want to show your ideas from last week either coming out from the mouth, or, you know, almost like those pop-ups that we just saw. Maybe there's kind of a speech bubble with the image inside. I really want you to remember that obviously we are focused on the art, so we are telling the story through the image. Okay. It doesn't mean you can't use words as part of that, but we really don't want that to be the focus of it. Okay. If you want to show where people haven't got free speech, then there's some images from last week that perhaps stuck with you or inspired your ideas. So you might want to do more of that closed mouth. You might show them being trapped in some way, whatever your idea is or whatever it is that they're speaking about, you might show it kind of trapped. Okay, so it really depends on your ideas from last week and what you want to represent this week. Now, like I said a moment ago, you don't want to be doing lots and lots of details because we're using pop art. Pop art has big, bold blocks of colour or pattern, okay? So really when you're sketching out, we're just thinking about sketching out the design of it, okay? Now what I'm going to do is switch you round to my desk view. It might be a good idea for you to pause the video at this point and then you can write down or sketch out any ideas that you've got coming through. Okay, so I hope you've got lots of ideas ready and you're using your ideas from last week as well. So I'm going to do an open mouth for this, and I want my ideas that represent that freedom of speech coming out from the mouth. So the first thing I want to do is draw that shape of the lips, okay? So really I always start with this kind of central dip in the lips on the top, okay? And then you curve it round. What I'd recommend you doing is using just a very light pencil mark just to kind of get that shape. And really an open mouth is kind of, it's quite like a lemon shape. Okay, so you can see there I've got the outline for the top lip. Now I'm doing it darker because I need you guys to be able to see the shape that I'm creating here. Okay, now once I've got that, I'm going to bring that down. Now again, like I did that top dip, I'm going to do that central bit at the bottom so that I know where I'm joining this up. Okay, now these techniques, little tricks to do this, you can use even if you're doing a closed mouth one. Okay, it just means that obviously it's going to be in quite a bit more. Okay, and there's going to be no open middle bit. Right, now what I want to do is looking at the top lip. So you might want to grab a mirror or go and look in the mirror and open your mouth and have a look. And it always kind of dips in. It kind of mirrors this dip of a line here. So that's what I'm going to do is kind of create that curve there. And then it's from that curve that you kind of get the shape of that upper lip. Okay. So let me go over that a bit darker so that you can see that there. Because if you look at our lips, we've got quite a lot of little creases on there. Now, same as the outline, you might want to get a faint pencil and almost do that line. And you don't have to put these creases in because, like I said, it is pop art, so you might want to just keep it more cartoony. Okay, just going to neaten up that line a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to mirror it. So I'm just mirroring the lines that I've done on this side and just bringing it down. There we go, to that point there. So there's my top lip. So again, I started with that central curve, and I'm going to do the same down the bottom. I'm doing that central curve there. And again, it's not as curvy as that top line. It's similar to this. It kind of mirrors that. And then I'm going to bring that and just join that up. So again, you can put those kind of lines, those creases that are in the lips through that as well. Okay, so there is my open mouth. So it's very simple at the moment because I need it to be because of the way that we're going to do this artwork. Okay, now my ideas, I'm thinking, when I was thinking last week about the ideas that kind of came through, I thought a lot about with regards to freedom, things that fly like birds and butterflies and things like that, and almost maybe like the ocean and those waves. And I liked the image that we looked at that kind of had the ocean in her mouth. Okay, so I'm thinking about it more on that terms, but I almost want it to kind of wave out, you see. So it's like this kind of wave of this freedom flowing I want to see the movement. I want to see it flowing out of the mouth. So that's how I'm kind of drawing it. And then part of that kind of coming off, I'm almost thinking about like the hummingbird shape came to mind. So you can see I've just used, like we've talked about before, when you're sketching, you just use the shape. So I've used 2 ovals to get that kind of hummingbird body shape, but I want it kind of attached to this wave that's coming out. So then I'll get the kind of wings would be coming out like that. And as you can see, I'm keeping the shape really, really simple. I'm just sketching out some ideas because I know that these ideas are going to become solid blocks of colour. So I want you thinking about that as well. And it also made me kind of think of the butterfly. So again, that oval shape is that kind of idea. What came to me was that idea of being free really made me kind of think about the creatures, the things in the world that I associate with freedom. Okay. And the butterfly, the hummingbird, things like that, and the ocean and things like that really made me think about all of those things. And plus they're just, they're beautiful. And there's a beauty in this for me. When I think about freedom of speech, I feel like there's a lot of beauty in that, of being able to speak freely. And so that's what I want to represent. Okay, so I'm doing this another hummingbird coming out. So I'm going to turn it around. So do feel free to kind of move that, your paper so that you can get that kind of angle. And what you might want to do is, depending on what you're drawing, you could almost get up some different images that you can use to help you. Okay, and then I might have a butterfly coming out from here as well. There we go, slightly different shape wings. There we go. Okay, so you can see this kind of freedom, these waves, and I'm probably going to do this. This is going to be blue, maybe some greens in there, because when I was thinking last week about that freedom, it brought a sense of calm with it as well. And I associate blues, purples, greens with calmness. Okay. So you could go further than this. So it might be that, I might include maybe here an open gate, maybe where this is kind of coming from, this wave of freedom is coming from. You could even put like broken bars or something on it, and very clearly show this escape, this freedom. Now, like I said, you might be representing more the trapped feeling. So in that case, rather than it coming out, you might show these lips, the mouth closed and sealed, and maybe there's something that is trapped around the outside edge. Okay. So yeah, it's just that's something worth exploring. And what you can do is just do a few designs with that. Now, what I'd go on to do with this, and what I'd like you guys to go on to do, is to then start blocking the colours. So plan this out first. Don't just dive into it, okay? For me, I would do a solid block of light blue around this gate. Inside this gate, I would make that black and make these kind of silver metallic kind of bars. And then this will be streams of light blues, purples and greens that are kind of flowing out. The lips, I think I would just do lip colour. So I would use pinks and reds to create that. And to make sure that these stand out, what I would probably do is do a very dark, so possibly even black, either pattern or solid colour behind there, because I want lots of vibrant colours. So although this would be a light blue, like a sky maybe, would be quite nice. And this is black in here. And then these light blues and purples and greens that are flowing out. And then this beautiful, I'd want to put so many colours. And I think that's part of the reason behind me choosing hummingbirds and butterflies, is because the amount of colours that you could use on that would be really stunning. So I'd use a multiple colours on these and have that really vibrant rainbow effect. And so it's almost showing that this freedom of speech that's coming out from this mouth is lighting up the world. Because if this was all dark, particularly, say I could actually do a colour wash that is dark this side, and as it gets to this side it gets lighter, but to make these stand out, I would definitely keep that all one colour or one pattern. So the pop-up that we looked at used dots or stripes even. So yeah, have a look at what you think. You could make it quite cartoony as well, like the examples we looked at. You could almost put like a speech bubble around this maybe. But play around with ideas. If you want to use a scrap paper just to kind of draw it all out and draw it together, like I said, you can rewind the video and you can go back to the mouths. If you want to do a different shaped mouth, then go back, pause it on the mouths, choose one and have a go at drawing that. Okay, so I really want you guys to enjoy doing this, because it's a really great way of representing something, and you can really get quite creative with this. So really do think about the colours and the patterns that you want to use once you've sketched it all out. And I do recommend A3 if you can. Sketched it all out on there, and then have a real think about those colours and patterns that you want to use. What I did like in some of the examples we looked at is the lips, for example. One of them used newspaper cutouts and specific words. It had the word inspire on it. I really love that idea actually, and it's made me think that maybe with my one, what I would possibly do is have all the colours that I talked about and the dark background, but then maybe use collage to do the lips, because then I could put particular words, cut out particular words, rip parts of it and really kind of keep layering it to make a really lovely effect, and then paint this on top. And that's what mixed media really means. You're using a range of different mediums. So it's not that you're just painting, or that you're just using pens, or that you're just using colouring pencils, or whatever it is that you have at home. If you then bring collage or something like that into it, you're creating a mixed media piece, and that can be really, really vibrant. Okay, so have fun with it, and yeah, make sure you post a picture once it's done, because I think these are going to be really, really beautiful. And it's something that you might need to leave the layers to dry as well. So you might want to do this over a couple of days. So maybe do the background layers, if you're using paint, do the background layers of paint, or do the background patterns first and then leave it to dry and come back to it the next day and do the next layer and then the next layer. Okay, and build this up so it can then be a really powerful image. These type of images can be really, really powerful because they represent something. Okay, so I can't wait to see what you've done, and yeah, have fun with it, like I said. All right, so take care, and I look forward to seeing them. Bye.